Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to touch on the controversy surrounding Total War Warhammer 3's upcoming DLC, Shadows of Change, and also analyze the situation within the lens of the gaming industry as we head into the final months of 2023. Announced on August 8th, Creative Assembly's latest Lord Pack immediately sent the Total War community into a frenzy over its steep price tag, a whopping $25 USD. Some might roll their eyes at labeling $25 as a whopping price to pay for Shadows of Change, but in the context of Total War Warhammer's past DLC pricing, and today's gaming market as a whole, Creative Assembly asking their players to shell out that amount of money for the content on offer has many hardcore fans quite upset, and justifiably so. For fans unaware of the current state of affairs, the current discontent among the community stems from Shadows of Change being priced as it has by CA. During the official announcement of Warhammer 3's last DLC, Forge of the Chaos Dwarves, it was revealed that unlike previous large-scale DLCs such as Warhammer 2's Curse of the Vampire Coast and Rise of the Tomb Kings, or even Warhammer 3's prior DLC, Champions of Chaos, all of which provided players with 4 new legendary lords, each with their own unique factions and mechanics, the Chaos Dwarves would instead launch with 3 legendary lords and 1 legendary hero, while also being priced higher than any Total War Warhammer DLCs that came before, across all 3 titles. CA also specified in the announcement blog post that releasing 3 legendary lords with an additional legendary hero is new for us, and is the path we'll be following for future releases. Upon hearing this, many fans were understandably put off by the DLC's higher price, an approximately 33% increase from the prior Lord Pack, Champions of Chaos, made even worse by the fact that it would include 1 less legendary lord for players to enjoy. While controversial at the time, this pill was slightly easier to swallow. The Chaos Dwarves would launch with 3 new factions, less than the usual 4 included in a DLC of its size, but still a solid number, along with an entirely new race, featuring a brand new unit roster, generic lords and heroes, and several new-ish race mechanics, along with a complete rework of the Darklands section of the map, which also provided increased replayability for other factions located in that part of the Warhammer world. At the time, the move was largely panned by the community, but most came around sooner or later, ultimately seeing the increase as an uncomfortable but necessary change in pricing. A bit more money to pay for a little less content, but tolerable if it meant supporting CA and a continued enjoyment of the game they love. All this changed, however, when Shadows of Change rolled around. Shadows of Change, labeled simply as a pack instead of a lord or campaign pack like previous content drops, also includes 3 new legendary lords and 1 new legendary hero. 1 less than the 4 lords included in Champions of Chaos, but in line with what CA had confirmed in the Chaos Dwarf blog post. The real rub comes with the rest of the DLC's content. 11 new units and 9 new regiments of renown, some of which are fairly basic reskins of existing models. And, while each new lord, particularly the Changeling of Tzeentch, seems to feature their own exciting spin on existing race mechanics, all 3 combined are nowhere near the level of content on offer with Forge of the Chaos Dwarves. But, for some reason, CA sees fit to charge players the exact same price for this new content. Looking back at DLC from both the second and third Warhammer games, this price hike became even more appalling. In Warhammer 2, we received the Tomb Kings and Vampire Coast, both with 4 new lords, entirely new unit rosters, and new faction mechanics, for a mere $19 US each, roughly 80% of the price being asked for Shadows of Change. Across Warhammer 3, Champions of Chaos provided 4 new lords, each with their own unique campaign mechanics, 50 new units, and was priced at a mere $16, a little more than half of the price of the game's latest DLC. While providing 3 new legendary lords and their new campaign experiences could justify a higher price tag than the standard $10 lord packs we were accustomed to in Warhammer 2, upping the price to match that of the Chaos Dwarves is ludicrous. Even more so when compared to the value of non-Total War products released around the same time. I finally got around to putting out my Remnant 2 review a few days before this video. Link in the description, go check that out. A title whose pricing starts at $50 US, and that provides infinitely more replayability than Shadows of Change. The base version of the game alone will get you a full campaign experience and a secondary adventure mode, both of which can provide literally hundreds of hours of gameplay should you choose to invest in it. That's not even mentioning the game's 3 already planned DLCs, which will no doubt bolster its content offering even further. Or, how about Baldur's Gate 3? Taking the gaming community by storm and absolutely smashing through its projected player count, BG3 has hundreds of hours of cinematics alone, not counting the time spent on combat, exploration, and all those other things that you'll do while actually playing the game. Oh yeah, and its price? $60 US. The bottom line is that pricing Shadows of Change at $25 is way out of band when compared to other products on the market right now. And with more highly anticipated titles like Armored Core 6 and Starfield releasing right around the upcoming DLC's launch date, Total War fans have to ask themselves, am I getting the bang for my buck that I really deserve? Or would my money be better spent on another game instead? That question, in turn, leads into another. How do you really quantify whether a game is worth its price? There are some clear-cut answers to that question. Cyberpunk 2077's release on consoles was ruined by poor performance, bugs, and a laughable state overall. And while the PC version was better, paying any amount of money to experience the game on consoles was simply not worth the price tag for months and months after release. Some would argue that titles on the other end of the spectrum are also exceptions. Games like Elden Ring, experiences so universally acclaimed, so beloved by critics and fans alike that paying $60 or even $70 in the new age of gaming is well worth it for admission into that experience, in the eyes of most players. However, in my opinion, analyzing a piece of content's worth based on price alone is futile, as the true price of anything, whether it be a game, a sandwich, or a car, varies drastically based on who is doing the buying. I'm lucky to be in a position where spending $25 on this DLC wouldn't break my bank, but for many other players, especially those dealing with outrageous regional pricing, that asking price is simply too much to stomach. In my mind, a game's price can only be analyzed accurately in the context of the value it provides. Is the game in a stable, playable, largely bug-free state? Is the game actively supported by its development team, or feature complete at launch? Does the game provide enough playtime to justify the cost of entry? Is the quality of what's on offer in line with the price of admission players are being asked to pay? All of these questions and more can tilt the pricing conversation one way or another, and unfortunately in the case of Creative Assembly and Shadows of Change, it skews largely in the wrong direction. Nearly a year after release, Immortal Empires is still riddled with bugs, often the game-breaking variety, with no word from CA on when these issues might be fixed. And let's be honest, no one is playing or cares about Realms of Chaos anyways. Those outstanding bugs tie neatly into the next point, a requisite level of support from the Warhammer 3 development team. While they have committed to a release cadence for new content over the next year or so, their support of what's already present in the game is far below the level it should be at. And we've already been burned several times by the game's infamous roadmaps. Not to mention the numerous updates and fixes mentioned by CA that still have yet to actually appear in the game. The one point in their favor is the level of replayability that Immortal Empires provides. While Warhammer 3's launch state was laughable, to put it plainly, the addition of Immortal Empires, along with the Champions of Chaos rework and the Chaos Dwarves, have delivered some great pieces of content at baseline that provide ample reasons for players to return time and time again, unresolved bugs notwithstanding. Finally and most importantly is the quality of the content, in this case Shadows of Change, worth the price players are being asked to pay for it. And here we come to the final nail in the coffin. No matter which way you slice it, no matter how good the Changeling and Yuanbo and Mother Ostankia are, how cool their new units look, or how fun their new campaign mechanics may be, CA asking their community to shell out nearly half the price of the base game to play them is an absolute slap in the face. To be clear, I am not a Total War or CA hater. I've been playing and loving Total War games since the original Shogun, and this franchise is a major reason why I fell in love with real-time strategy and gaming in general. I also have a tremendous amount of respect for Creative Assembly. While they are far from perfect, the joy I've experienced playing their games over the years is nearly unmatched, save for a select few franchises. And their talented developers should not be blamed for these awful pricing decisions under any circumstances. I, like many other players, will not be purchasing Shadows of Change at or before release. Admittedly, I often wait to buy Total War DLCs until several months after they come out, mostly due to the fact that I'm obsessed with playing the same 5 lords over and over again. God help me. But I did pre-order Forge of the Chaos Dwarves, and Champions of Chaos, and Warhammer 3. So this marks the first time during the game's life cycle that I won't be purchasing and playing the latest content drop when it releases, and I strongly urge other fans to do the same. As customers of Creative Assembly and Sega, we can lambast their pricing decisions until we're all blue in the face. But the only thing that moves the needle for game developers and publishers is the almighty dollar. Money talks, and by not pre-ordering or buying Shadows of Change, you can send a clear message that these price hikes aren't acceptable, and that we as a community won't tolerate them. And, rest assured, if pre-orders and purchases of these overpriced DLCs keep rolling in, Sega and CA will, in turn, keep upping the price of Total War content, and I fear for the health of the community if that does indeed continue. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more gaming content, and let me know your thoughts on the Shadows of Change DLC situation in the comments below. Thanks for watching. You're a real one and I appreciate you. Catch you later, homies.